put it bluntly, Scream 5 is the 75th worst film I've ever seen. I don't know how this thing got 75% on Rotten Tomatoes, but it did. What's wrong with it? Well, let's sit down and talk about it. So the film opens with a scene reminiscent of the first film, but not quite the same. And that one was okay. Of course, the victim, Tara, gets away, which is a bit of a surprise. Then we move on to someone else entirely different who gets told that her sister Tara got attacked. So this is Sam, and she goes back to Woodsboro with her boyfriend, Richie, who you might remember from The Boys. Yeah, that guy. Anyway, they come back, look into things. Suddenly it's revealed that Sam is Billy Loomis's illegitimate daughter. We don't get a clear idea who Mom is. Mom apparently does not want to visit Tara at the hospital for some reason. I can't imagine what's going on there. Moving on. So, really, we don't get to be invested in any of the younger characters. None of them really stick out, except for, of course, the one who is taking the part of Jamie Kennedy from the original movie. She was kind of a standout and kept talking about requels and all that. She was kind of funny, but she didn't stand out too much. None of them really stood out. They were just kind of there. Another thing is the characters is you get this kid. I mean, he shows up. And yeah, I caught, we purely put this up so at the party we could celebrate Wes. Yeah, oh, okay, yeah, Wes Hicks, Wes, okay, yeah, I got you, ha ha. Yeah, but he shows up literally to die. I mean, he shows up 2 minutes, then dies. But this also brings me to another problem with the movie, is unlike Wes Craven, who knew how to just draw out the tension just enough to get you, and then you snap back with something that wasn't scary, but it was a jump cut, or maybe that it was a jump scare, and then it would go back and forth, and it'd be a roller coaster ride. You didn't know what was going to happen. In this one, it just seems like they're setting up all the tropes and then not paying off, and it's like dragging on and on and on, and Wes's death is the perfect example. It's just on and on and on and on, and his mother's dead outside, and it's dragging on and on and on and on, and then finally they kill this kid. But dear Lord, it took forever. It just felt like I felt like I was just watching an amateur film class about how not to set tension. Because after a bit, I just didn't care. I knew what was going to happen. I knew how it was going to go. Why draw it out? It's like pulling a thorn out. Just pull it. Just be done with it. The scene did not require that kind of building of tension. We knew it was there. Wes Craven would have done it in a much more efficient way. I just felt like it dragged, and that's maybe my personal opinion, but I always felt Wes Craven was, one thing Wes Craven got was when to put the scare in, when to draw the tension out, and that there was a limit, and that he would draw it to that limit and make it interesting. That was his gift. And so we didn't get invested in any of the characters. And again, the movie gets a little bit aggravating in its pace. It's kind of like, why are we even sitting here? Until finally, Tara gets attacked in the hospital. And this leads up to Dewey shooting Ghostface, and then realizing, oh, wait, gotta shoot him in the head, and ends up in one of the dumbest death scenes in the entire franchise of Scream. It's just like, come on. We've seen Dewey almost die so many times, it's not even got an impact anymore. And you see him actually die, and it's like, yeah, so what? And there's more on this in a minute, but I'll come back. And then, again, the pace goes, and da-da-da, and then Tara decides, and Tara and Sam decide to leave, but for some reason they have to stop by Amber's house to get an inhaler. Why there? I don't know. None of this, I mean, none of this made any sense why they would have to go there. We're at a hospital, they could go there and get an inhaler, I'm sure. I don't understand any of it, why they had to go to Amber's house. And then we find out that Amber's house is Stu's old house. And I should also mention, through all this, Sam is having hallucinations of Billy Loomis, and an apparently de-aged Skeet Ulrich, which was kind of okay, but it was really leading you off the path. It was just kind of a distraction rather than being something that was interesting. So, long story short, we get to the end of the movie, and it turns out Amber's the killer. Oh no, oh, how could this be? And then everybody separates, and then they get back together and start fighting Ghostface, and then all of a sudden Richie is the other killer, her boyfriend, which, when you start thinking about it, makes totally no sense. In one scene, Richie is in the hotel room watching YouTube videos on his laptop, as if he is just discovering the Stab franchise. This is the first time he's ever heard of it. It went off the rails after 5 or something like that, he says. And it seems, okay, yeah, he could have been acting, but why was he watching the videos? That doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't add up. And then, when they decide to go to Amber's house, Richie doesn't want to go. But that's the spot where he wants them to be. So why is he trying to talk them out of it? Again, it doesn't fit. It sort of felt tacked on at the end. It just was like, oh, we need another killer. Who we got left? Richie, that's it, yeah. Now, the thing about this Amber reveal that kind of gets me is you go back to Dewey's death. Now, I'm not upset that Dewey died. In fact, I'm kind of okay with it, because Dewey just seemed to be a target every time a Scream movie came around. He always got some kind of hurt, damage, something. So, to have him die, yeah, no big deal. But, look at the actress who plays Amber. She is 5'3". Now, David Arquette is also a former WCW champion. And yeah, I really wish I was joking about that. I really, really wish I was joking about that. But, still, David Arquette is 5'10". I'm not trying to be sexist here, but look at Amber and then look at David Arquette. You can tell David Arquette could probably overpower her, but yet in several moments in this scene, obvious overpowering going on here. And, Dewey is barely holding his own in terms of the force being pushed by the knife. It just doesn't ring that Amber should be able to do that. Now, some people speculate, oh, this is proof that Stu is alive. And yeah, unless I see something that says that in the movie, I'm not going to say that's what happened. Because, you can speculate all you want. But the reality is, speculation is just that, speculation. What we are shown within the movie's structure itself tells us that that is what it is. So after this, we get into the motive of the killer, which is always the most interesting part. What were they doing? The first one had a lead tree with Billy Loomis's dad and everything, and it was like he blamed Nip Campbell's mom for his life and all that stuff. And then, of course, here we come, the big reveal. Yeah, we just want to make the franchise better. It's like, what? We're giving them a I literally laughed out loud as Richie was talking about how can fandoms be toxic because it's about love and all that stuff. And I was rolling laughing, saying, "This is why you're killing people, is to make a movie." And it's so stupid. And laughing about it, just thinking about it. I was on the floor. And then I just started thinking about it. I don't think I'm supposed to be on the floor right now. I don't think this is a joke. And I watched it again. I went around and watched it again. And I was right. They're meaning this seriously. I mean, this is not a joke as in the meta jokes of Scream. I mean, some people might say it's a meta commentary. I'm not sure. But it didn't. It came across as, really this is our motive. This is why we're killing people. Take us seriously. We're killing people to make this movie better. it just melted away any good parts that movie had at that point. It was just so ridiculously funny and so ridiculous. I just laughed. I could not help it. And to me, the one thing about Scream is it goes very comedy, and then it can get back to serious. And usually the motive of the killer is a really serious one, and that's where you're kind of like, that's intriguing, or sometimes you're like, okay, no, that's terrible. Scream 4 fell into this too. It was, I'm jealous because you're famous, so I want to be famous too. So it did fall into that trope in a certain way, but not in the same way. I mean, this was I really thought, they had no out plan. They had no, they didn't have some clever plan to make it look like somebody else was the killer. They were just going to just be killing people, and that was going to be the end of it. It was just, oh god, it was so ridiculous. And, I have seen a lot of people say this is a meta commentary on their motive, and it's brilliant and perfect, and it's like, no, it's not. It's dumb. It's just, hey, we're going to make a better movie by showing them original. I mean, literally what they say in the movie. We're going to make a better movie by showing them original stuff. And, I mean, yeah, there's a few hits towards this, too, in the fact that Stab 8 was directed by Rian Johnson. More on him later. We won't get into it right now, but we know that's an obvious dig on to the 8th Star Wars movie. But still, it's... In some ways, this movie was like almost doing the same thing as Last Jedi. It was like, ooh, I'm going to subvert your expectations, but not in fun ways. Just doing it. Nowhere near egregious as Last Jedi, don't get me wrong. Again, we will talk about this later. But in Scream 5, it's just, this whole motive is just weird. to borrow it from Family Guy, it is even weird. Yes, I'm over enunciating. And I'm just trolling at this point when I say weird, but it is just weird. It's weird. It's almost silly. It's out of place. It's not being as meta as people want to say it is. It's just kind of, and that's all it is. It's not something that really grabs you. You just go, this is ridiculous. It actually pulled me out of the movie so bad. So, and another thing about this movie is the dialogue and the characters, that none of it was there. You can tell Kevin Williamson was nowhere near this movie just by the way it came across. It was just, everything was kind of bland. People showed up to die. I mean, the thing is as bad as Scream 4 was, it had its redeeming qualities. And a lot of it was the dialogue and the, at least some of the characters were understandable and relatable and maybe not likable, but you understood who they were. Whereas in this movie, it's just sort of, I'm struggling with the word right now. It's just sort of there. I mean, it's really the teenagers. I don't feel like I knew any of them other than, this is... Here I am. I know a name, and that's it. I felt like I knew the other characters in the first movie much better. And that's weird to me because, one of the things is you're killing these characters off. You going to make me care a little bit about them? No, you're not. Yeah, so then we get into bad guys gotta die. That's what's gotta happen. So, in what is one of the most Looney Tune ridiculous deaths ever, I mean, this is so silly. Amber falls into the stove and accidentally turns it on. If you ever had a gas stove, it doesn't turn, 99% of the times they don't turn on that easy, but they can. So, boom, automatically on high. They shoot her. Boom, she falls in and engulfed in flames in 3 seconds. I'm exaggerating, half a second. I mean, it's just like from nothing to inferno. Again, I'm here laughing about this because it's like, and there was some line about a torch from one of the YouTube videos that Richie was watching when he was discovering this movie, and I was just like, please give me a break, dear God. And of course Richie has to die, so Sam stabs him like 50 times and then shoots him. It's just, yeah, it just moss. Nowhere is it explained how these two very separate characters even knew each other. How did Richie and Amber get together and come up with this plan? It was like they shouldn't even be walking in the same circles. I mean, he's in his late 20s, minimum, and she's a teenager. I mean, how would they even have met? So, there's some plot holes here. I mean, I'll give credit where it's due. All the old cast did good performances of what they were handed. I mean, they were not handed great stuff, but they did good performances with what they were given. Even the new people did some pretty decent performances. It's just, the stuff around it was so bad. It's hard to imagine what was going through people's heads coming up with this stuff. And apparently no one's questioning it. That's the part that's bothering me. So, it's not the 75th worst film I've ever seen, but it's not a good film. I would give it 1.5 stars just for all those plot holes. It's just, the killer's motivation is to make the movie better. Okay, sure. Let's make the franchise better by stabbing people off. It's just, it doesn't make any sense. I know it just doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, again, attempting to be meta, but it ends up being tripe. It's just silly. There's nothing to it. It's just silly. And, are you getting cynical in your old age? And I don't think so. I think it's just really a stupid reason to kill people. Alright, that's it for Infinite Realms. Don't forget to like and subscribe.